Shalom, Kal Halal Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Shem HaKadosh. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful like tabernacle of David. All right. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily Update. Shalom and salutations to you as well. I'm going to start right here in Jeremiah 14. We're going to discuss Edom. Now, what's going on in Eastern Europe is Edomite on Edomite crime, right? Like they have a term called, a phrase called black on black crime. This is white on white crime. Anyway, we're just gonna, where are we gonna start at? 14. This is the war that's going on over there right now. It's gonna start right here, all right? Because eventually, the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is gonna guide the Russians to a victory. All right, so Jeremiah 49:14, I have heard a message from the Most High, from Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that an ambassador was sent to the nations. Is this where I want to be? Salakia. Hold on. Wow. Okay, Salakia, bear with me. Where was I? Berean? Let's see, where was I? Let me read it in the Berean. This is Jeremiah 49:14. I have heard a message from the Lord. An envoy has been sent to the nations. Assemble yourselves to march against her. Rise up for battle. Here's your war, okay? Because eventually all the nations are going to turn on Edom, which now is, there's a lot of Edomite nations out there, but Edom's home right now is the U.S. All right? For behold, I will make you small among the nations, despised among men. The terror you cause and the pride of your heart have deceived you, a dweller in the clefts of the rocks. O occupiers of the mountain summit, though you elevate your nest like the eagle. Who's the eagle? The eagle has landed, right? Who said that? The Americans said that. Even from there, I will bring you down. Okay? All right, so the Most High is against two. The Most High is against Babylon the Great. Okay, he's going to use the Edomites in the land of the north to bring down these Edomites over here in the sides of the north. Okay, so with that said, let's go to Military and Foreign Affairs Network here. Now, yesterday, it was said that some Russian contingents, rose up against their motherland, but that's not what it was at all. It was the truth. Now, it takes a couple of days for the truth to come out. So instead of watching this, everything that happened yesterday is included in this little vignette, if you will. So let's listen to this. This is Military and Foreign Affairs Network yesterday. Battlefield Ukraine. Russia strikes key leadership. So let's watch this. Let the voice of reason speak his piece. So Lockie, bear with me. Lockie, here we go. Take it away.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the war between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. So today, we are continuing to see Russian forces drive Ukrainian troops out of the Belgorod Oblast. We continue to see Russian aircraft, missiles, artillery pummel Ukrainian forces that had been in this area. It sounds like that, for the most part, much of these Ukrainian units have fled back across the border into Ukraine. And we were talking about this yesterday in terms of the why. Why would the Ukrainian military launch this operation?
Now he's calling it straight up the Ukrainian military, and the news in the internet news, I believe, they were saying that it was Russian insurgent or Russian, basically thugs coming up against their own government. So this is more in line with the truth. You got rumors and propaganda just swirling about this whole situation. All right, because when you get right down to it, um, the Ukraine is part of the USSR, which is the Soviet Union. So they're all brothers. Okay, they're all related. The reason that Russia says it's fighting, the reason Vladimir Putin says it's fighting against the Ukraine is because all of the Russians living right next door, right, that are being mistreated or whatever. And the reason they're being mistreated is because somebody sent in a puppet government, had a color revolution, and who does that? Right? Well, the West does that. So here we are.
Yeah, granted, it would be more of a public relations stunt, so to speak. It would get a lot of attention that would be paid to other areas of the conflict. And I talked about the defensive failure at Bakhmut. Russian forces defeated Ukrainian forces in Bakhmut. And then we also talked about the operational pause for this very large counteroffensive. And we had also talked about the reason that pause button was hit was the counteroffensive was stopped was because of Russian airstrikes, cruise missile strikes against Ukrainian command and control, Ukrainian supply depots, Ukrainian forces in the field that were building up for this possible large-scale counteroffensive. Now, there's one other key point that I think this channel failed to talk about yesterday as well, that has been being discussed in some circles, and I think it's definitely worth having a talk about this, because in all probability there is a very good chance what I'm about to talk about could have happened. So what would happen, say, during the Iraq War, maybe in the Afghanistan War, when a visiting U.S. chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, let's hypothetically say that the head military leader of the United States was targeted and severely wounded, how much airtime would that get? Obviously, it would be highly talked about. It would be picked up by the international news, the international press, the press inside the United States, and it would be discussed as to why it occurred. Now, we've talked about the silence and the lack of information that gets out of especially Ukraine during this conflict, and that is in regards to casualties, the targeting of military sites. But there is talk, there is discussion that the Ukrainian commander-in-chief of its armed forces, obviously not Zelensky, but General Zaluzhny, again, the equivalent of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Ukrainian armed forces, the head of the Ukrainian armed forces may in fact right now be in a medically induced coma that was caused by a Russian strike. Now, again, because of the secretive nature of the policy of the Ukrainian military and the Ukrainian state, not to report on anything at all, that this has been kept hidden, and it's possible that this operation in the Belgorod Oblast could be part of that cover story to have you, the viewer of the conflict here in the United States and abroad, to look here rather than over here.
Slovakia. Commercials happen.
And we're looking over here at Kherson because allegedly the Russian attack was carried out in the area near the city of Kherson. We're not sure exactly where, but again, General Zaluzhny, head of the Ukrainian armed forces, may have become a casualty to a Russian missile strike. Now, we're still trying to verify that. We're trying to see if we can find some sort of information, some sort of example that could prove that Zaluzhny is still alive, but we have not been able to do that as of yet. Now, we're not saying he's dead either. There's a possibility, again, from reports that are circulating that could indicate that he is in a medically induced coma from a wound that he suffered during a Russian missile strike. We'll go over to the deep state map here, and as you can see here with the deep state map, which tends to be the best map in terms of reporting where some of the fighting is going and where some of the territory that has been recently taken by one party or the other, and you can clearly see here that they are no longer reporting that Ukrainian forces are conducting an operation west of Belgorod. The Russians are reporting that up to 75 Ukrainian troops. The Ukrainians are saying this is part of a Russian partisan group. But look, the reality is it is a Ukrainian trained military unit staffed possibly by some peoples that were from the Russian Federation, but we believe that most of its makeup are in fact Ukrainians and then possibly some foreign volunteers.
There it is.
As well. But we have definitely seen video evidence of the Russians hitting targets in this area, and we've seen what look to be Ukrainian vehicles, some of which are U.S. supplied Humvees that have been destroyed as well. But again, it's interesting that this occurs now right after the failure at Bakhmut, and then finally the operational pause button that occurred, possibly in the south towards Zaporizhia and Kharkiv. But again, we're going to continue to watch this very closely, see if we can validate if General Zaluzhny was in fact seriously injured in a Russian missile strike, given that no one has seen him in possibly, was it now 2 weeks? They think the strike may have occurred. But we don't know for certain, but it looks like something may have happened to General Zaluzhny. So we will keep you posted. We will continue our coverage. Thank you for joining us today. More to come. Have a good day.
All right, so that's a little good information there, especially on what happened as far as an insurgency. Let's look that up. Insurgent. I mean, that could be anybody, but let's see. Look it up anyway. Revolt. Okay, rebels. That's basically within the country an insurgency. Let's see, the qualitative state of being an insurgent, a condition of revolt against a government that is less than an organized revolution. Okay, so what is a revolution? All right, well, the Revolutionary War, for example. Okay, uh, it's within the country. An insurgency within Russia would be the Russian people revolting, okay, against Russia. But that's not what we're dealing with. He just explained, right, that it was outside of it. Wasn't. They're trying to say that it was from within, but he's saying that that's propaganda. So, and that's basically what I wanted to show. All right, because of course the pro-Ukrainians are having a field day. Oh, you're now the upset Russians are attacking. No, no, they're not. Okay, well, first of all, they're all Russians. Okay, some slight differences in dialect, probably, and probably over. I'm exaggerating a bit, but hey, they're definitely cousins. So with that, we'll leave it. Well, let me see. Where is this going? Where is the infighting? Right? If there's infighting in Russia, there's certainly infighting within the USSR. Well, the USSR doesn't exist anymore. According to who? Ask Vladimir Putin if the USSR doesn't exist anymore. Right? So where is it going? Because all of these nations are going to turn their sights on uh, uh, Babylon the Great. How about that? In the end, they're all. Let's get that. Burn her with fire. Who's going to do that? Who's going to burn her with fire? All right, there's old Revelation. Right, here we go. And the 10 horns, Revelation 17 and 16. The 10 horns, the EU, right, which thou sawest upon the beast, right, NATO and the EU, these shall hate the whore. Who's the whore? Babylon the Great. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with those missiles. This happens in the end. Everybody's going to turn, right? Let's read Ezekiel 16 and 37. Therefore, I will surely gather all of her lovers, all these other nations that are with her now, whom you found with whom you found pleasure. Talk about Babylon the Great. All your lovers, all the other nations that were at once at peace with you, all those you loved and all those you hated, I will gather them against you and form all around you and expose you before them, and they will see you completely naked. So once they see her completely naked, they're going to burn her with fire, shoot them missiles. That's the culmination. Russia, Ukraine, all of them are coming against the whore. Okay, got it? Who are the 10 horns? The 10 horns would be the EU, which there's more than 10 now, and the beast would be NATO. NATO and the EU. These will hate the prostitute, the whore, Babylon the Great. Okay? So that's where it's going. All right? And here's it getting there. Right? We always end on this. So this is what's coming. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe is coming shortly. Third woe is World War III. All right, everybody's throwing World War III and nuclear missiles around, and that's what the Bible is all about. The end of the world as we know it will happen after World War III and as a result of nuclear missiles. Point blank, period. So with that, we hope that the elect will edify you, brothers and sisters. With that, we say shalom.